Welcome to the More Than Dis podcast, where we dive into conversations with good friends to bring us out of our stress, away from our to-dos, and out of our head. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. It's great to have you. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review to help others find out about the show. With that out of the way, let's jump right in.
Hi, how's it going? And welcome to the very first episode of the More Than Dis podcast. My name is Miguel, and I'm so excited that you're here. I'll be your host for the foreseeable future, God willing. So just to start things off, I thought some basic introduction about who I am and just what led me to want to create this podcast in the first place would be a great way to get started. So I was born in Mexico, but have grown up here in the U.S. since I was 7 or 8 years old. I graduated about 3 years ago from Boise State here in Idaho with a graphic design degree and have been running my business ever since. I specialize in identity design, so basically to put it simply, logo work and just kind of everything that basically the building blocks of every brand. I love just kind of meeting new people and hearing about their ideas, and then just helping them kind of bring that idea to life. I don't know. I love what I do. As far as what brought me to, I guess, this podcast now and YouTube, I guess it started back in YouTube, back in 2017. I started making videos just kind of sharing my struggles with cerebral palsy and just everyday life with a disability. I had the idea to start a YouTube channel back in high school, but it was something that I would post just random videos, not tell anybody because, you know, I was I was very insecure back then, so I thought that people, if people found out, that they would judge me, and just, you know, I just kept it to myself. That idea never went away, about making videos. Like, even like going into college, I just kind of had that idea of being like, oh, you should probably start making videos now, start taking it more seriously. But I just kind of wasn't ready until 2017 came. I mean, it was still rough, and I would say that I'm still getting used to it. Just kind of being in front of camera or just like talking to yourself basically is a little bit weird as I'm sitting here talking into a microphone. It is a little bit odd, an odd thing to get used to, but it's been a blast. I've sucked at posting consistently though throughout the years. So even though I say I started in 2017 officially, but I've gone like months without posting sometimes, and you know, it's just life kind of gets complicated sometimes, and or just with other priorities, like, you know, my business, my design business, that takes priority sometimes. So yeah, it's just being able to I guess find a balance between the two had been difficult, or has been difficult for me in the past. I think what was happening to me with YouTube as well is that I would get I guess not burnt out, but I guess run out of ideas to talk about, because I don't really like to talk about myself per se, but I felt that that's the only thing that I would talk about, and even just recently, right? I would make new videos, and I would feel the need to always bring it back to my disability, and granted, that is what my channel originally was about, just kind of life with disability, right? So I was like, it makes sense for me to talk about it every single video. But then it just, for me, it started getting repetitive, and then I started getting feedback about, you know, just mentioning like, maybe you shouldn't talk about it every single video, or even like they would be like, oh, like, you know, like we, like by this point, it's been some time, like we know you have a disability, we can see it, so it's not like, yeah, so I just started, I just felt the need to stop for a little bit and kind of reevaluate what I was doing and kind of how I was going about it, because my whole thing with starting YouTube in the first place was to kind of show that there is life beyond disability. So the fact that I was getting stuck within my own disability was not my intention for myself. So I was like, if I'm getting stuck, then that means I'm not helping other people either get unstuck. So I don't know. So I just took some time off and kind of rethought everything. The more I thought about just my life in general, I came to realize that it's basically been three pillars that have like carried me away or up from the darkness of the disability. So that's been my faith, my family, and friendships. And starting the channel and just what I've spoken about, I've kind of covered how my faith and my family have been instrumental in that. But I feel like friendship is a completely different thing, just because it involves just obviously other people, right? And even with like your family members, obviously. Sometimes I think the problem that I at least I'll speak for myself, that I always ran into is that I was so constantly in my head, especially growing up, that I would just get into like these very dark dark areas of like just thought, of feeling like, why do I have this disability? It's not fair. Like, I can't do this, I can't do that. So yeah, so I kind of realized that the way that my life has been, it's always been through other people that I've been able to bring out the best in myself, and kind of have allowed me to get to know myself in a different way that's kind of beyond my disability. So that's what brings me to this podcast. I'm, like I said, I'm really excited to get started, because this is going to be centered around friendship, and specifically, obviously, the friends that I invite over here as guests. Each episode is going to be different from the last one, just because my friendship with every person is different than the last one. So I'm that's one of the things that I wanted to showcase, is just everybody's personality and how each of them have brought something to my life or added something to my life. It's just something that I'm eternally grateful for. I definitely feel like without these people, or my friends in general, obviously, because in the first season, there's like, I couldn't invite everybody at once, but yeah, it's just been through friendships that I've been able to really grow and be out of my comfort zone. So that's kind of the gist of it, though. Every episode, like I said, is going to be a little bit different, but what is going to be the same is that I'm going to be asking all my friends the same three questions at the end of each episode. So I think for this episode, I think it's only fair that I answer the same three questions that they'll have to answer, just because, So the first question is, what makes a true friendship? Man, so this is one question that I've actually thought a lot about. And I think the best way, it's hard for me to explain, but I think the best way that I can think of right now is when you are just hanging out with somebody, and for example, if you guys are going somewhere and you're in a road trip or something, right? And there's just silence in the car, or there's just silence wherever you guys may be, and there's no awkwardness. You don't feel the need to fill the silence with anything or like do anything, right? Like, you're just okay with being like being present. So I feel like for me, that's what makes a true friendship, just that level of comfort. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a overly simplistic, it may be an overly simplistic answer, but at least for right now, that's the best that I could come up with. The second question is, who is one person that has impacted your life in a positive way, and how? So I feel like for me, it's kind of cheating, because like I said, this podcast is full of people that have impacted my life in a positive way. But I mean, if I have to choose, then I would just go with my family members, just because without them, I don't think I wouldn't be anywhere without them. And I'm gonna brag about them a little bit, because each of them have characteristics that I admire and that I hope to have one day, even like the tiniest bit of like amount that they have. So for example, my mom, she's the kindest, the most gentle person, but she has this inner strength about her. Um, like I said, that's just admirable. And my dad, he's the hardest worker. He doesn't complain. He just gets things done. Whenever something is needed, he's just there. My sister, she, my sister's the best. I think she's the person that I would, if I had to describe what a leader, is, then I think it would be her. She has this drive about her, and like this character. She doesn't take crap from anybody, and she'll basically tell you your like your truths to your face. She keeps me grounded. Yeah, she's the best. My brother-in-law, again, just hardest worker, very dependable, very trustworthy person. My nephews as well. I mean, they were just born, but I talk about them in the podcast with my guests all the time, just because they've kind of just brought so much joy to, I would say, my family's life. And yeah, I can't. It's like watching them grow has been the best. And I know I keep saying the best, but that's the only thing that comes to my mind. And lastly, my brother. He definitely made an impact on my life. He's actually the reason why I started. He's the reason why I started my YouTube in the first place back in 2017, and he's the reason why I'm even doing this podcast now. He's the reason why I continue to kind of just be outside my comfort zone and just not be afraid. He was one of the most noble people that I've ever met. So yeah, so I mean, that's the gist. As far as my immediate family, yeah, I mean, they're the people who I admire the most. All right, so third question is, what is one piece of advice you would give to the youngest member of your family? So, like I mentioned, my nephews would be the youngest members of my immediate family, and for them, if I had to tell them one thing, I would say is just to not be afraid. To not be afraid of anything, whether it's to try new things or like just new challenges in life, whatever life may bring to them, just to tackle it head on and to, never despair and never be afraid. So that's what I would give. That's what I would give them as an advice if they ever listen to this or if they ever ask. It's funny because even though they're like relatively young, they're like toddler ages. Sometimes when I struggle, like for example, when I'm at the gym and I'm feeling uncomfortable, sometimes they come to mind, and I'm like, if my nephew was feeling like this, then I would just tell him to like suck it up and like go and lift those weights, and that kind of like lifts up my spirits. So like I said, don't be afraid. That's what I would tell them. But that's the gist of the podcast. That's the gist of my reasoning behind it. A little bit about me. Like I said, I'm so excited to have you as a listener, and I appreciate your support. Now we can officially start meeting some of my friends. My very first guest is my elementary school teacher, who is one of the kindest people you will ever listen to or meet if you're lucky enough. She's just a breath of fresh air and just pure sunshine. So yeah, go ahead and listen to her, to my conversation with her, and just brighten up your day a little bit. But I guess that's it for this very first episode. Again, thank you so much for listening. I'm excited to have you on board. Thank you for your support, and I look forward to see what the future holds. So thank you and have a great day. Bye.
You've been listening to the More Than Dis podcast. Before you go, don't forget to give us a quick rating and review, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and visit downwithdis.com to stay up to date with the latest information about the show. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your week, and we'll catch you on the next one.